can't face it. You got too complacent on me, and now you tryna tell me that you.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna get into your story.
Okay.
When did you start making music?
I started making music professionally. I want to say when I was about 19. So prior to getting to the company that I'm with now, Sloppy Vinyl, they were called Water Music. So when I got to them, I had never recorded music like ever in my life. So I had written songs like on piano and on guitar, since I was like 14, 12. But when I actually like got signed, like that was the first time I recorded like in a studio. So I would say that was the first time that I really professionally created music. But I've been, writing songs and just making music since I was like 10, 11, really young.
And how did you get to, I guess, be a part of Sloppy Vinyl?
So I had found Sloppy Vinyl when Sloppy Vinyl did not exist. So at the time they were called Water Music, which is a publishing company. So they had an artist at the time that I kind of was just like watching and was like, yo, like she's super dope, like how is she doing all this stuff? So I peeped her Instagram bio and she had them, tagged. So basically at that point, I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna put out an EP. And so it was a publishing company. So I'm thinking like, cool, this is how I get my music on iTunes, right? So I hit them up and was like, hey, like I'm trying to make an EP. And I ended up having a meeting with them and everything was just super aligned. Like, the owner of the company who's been my mentor since that day, we just really like aligned with everything that I thought and they were telling me. But yeah, so they ended up doing like artist development and it was like a signing thing. So when I was with them and then through that Sloppy Vinyl was created. So the kind of artist development that, my mentor was doing with me, basically they wanted to create a company of that, like that system of, really getting things out of an artist and being prepared for, the craziness that is the music industry. So Sloppy Vinyl kind of, was created out of that template that they were already using. And then that's just been my ride or die team. Love them forever.
Yeah, and how many projects have you put out with Sloppy Vinyl so far?
So I put out an EP under my other name. So I was going by Lawan for a little bit, which is just my birth name. I put out one EP, and then I, transitioned into becoming Law, changed my name, had like a whole rebrand moment, and then I put out Vent, which is currently out to be streamed. My only project.
Yes, and I heard it too. It sounds really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like a few of the tracks there.
Oh.
So what was the inspiration behind that project in particular?
So the inspiration behind Vent was I have this series on TikTok where I help women catch their boyfriends cheating on them.
Oh.
So it's a very viral series, maybe you've seen me, I don't know. And so through that, I was getting like thousands of DMs from girls, just like with their stories and their situations. And so, females just kind of venting to me. And so through that process, I wanted to be able to, answer everybody in a way that, they could kind of have forever. So I felt like, I'm going to start kind of taking these stories and turning them into songs. So a lot of the songs are, inspired by the DMs I was getting, as well as when I was reading the DMs, it almost helped me to internalize my own feelings of, wow, like I feel like that too. But it was almost like I didn't even know I felt that way until I read a message from somebody else and was like, you know what, I relate to this. So the whole project is basically just all of my messages. It's my story, it's their story, and just kind of like venting about some of these things that, not everyone necessarily feels comfortable to talk about, so that's why they're, coming to me. But the whole project is really inspired by just my story as well as, the DMs I was getting.
Mm-hmm. And I guess behind the TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
so how did that first, episode start? How did
The first
how does that
TikTok.
begin? Yeah.
So I had a friend who was just complaining to me, venting to me, right, about how she just had this feeling that her boyfriend was cheating on her. And, every single day she's telling me about, the reasons and the evidence. And, girls do that. They're just like putting things together. And I'm like, you know what? Let's solve this, right? When does he get out of work? It's not that big of a deal. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go physically check myself because I'm tired of this. And I was like, this would be like a good TikTok. So I made a TikTok as I was doing it, and it just like blew up. And then I was like, oh no. So then like when that happened, girls were just messaging me like, hey, like, like I think my boyfriend's cheating too. Like, do you mind? Do you mind? And I was like, I have a problem saying no. So I was like, yeah, sure. And then it's like I'm doing one, and then I'm doing another, and then I'm doing another, and then it's like a whole series. So that's kind of, how it started, and here I am.
How many of them do you think you've done so
Oh
far?
my gosh. I've probably done, it's got to be like a couple hundred. Because it's like,
wow.
I do ones where I do it in person, right? If like they're in like the local area, I might pop in on you, ask, you got a girlfriend, but I'm undercover. So, haha, joke's on you. Or if they're not local to me, right? Do not fret, because then we just send you a little DM, a little message, and we're just like, hey, you're cute, So between like both of those, it's definitely a few hundred. I have like hundreds of these videos on my TikTok.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very time consuming.
Yeah. So what are some other things that you're into aside from your music?
So I've come to this point in my life where I feel like my career and my life are just one. We're just one happy family. So I never consider like, I have like free time or I have like hobbies, because I'm constantly creating, I'm constantly coming up with ideas for things. So everything I do somehow will fall into my artistry. So I just have like different things like weaved into my routines that I enjoy, but I do think it has like an impact on, the art that I make. I'm a reader. I do enjoy reading. A little nerdy, whatever, don't hate. I like to learn. I like to always be evolving. My biggest fear is to like be complacent and to like stay still. Can't have that. So I love reading. Not much of a TV gal. I do not have cable. I'm on my parents' Netflix, so here or there I'll, watch a little thing. And I like to be outside. I like to get sunshine. I just feel like it's invigorating, just getting like fresh air and like sun on you. So aside from like because again, anytime I have like free time, I'm going to want to like make music or go create a TikTok. But aside from that, it'd probably be like reading. You'd find me reading or outside.
And have you ever like considered modeling or runway? Because I'm pretty sure people have told you like you have that look.
Thank you.
So have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, I did some things of, being like a model, which is cool, like going on the go-sees, but like at the end of the day, I am a singer, right? I'm an artist, and I always want that to be first. So, and it's a cool gig because, I also am an influencer, so I kind of do model in a sense of, I model for brands, and I definitely prefer the influencer way of modeling versus like being a model in the industry as a model, because then it's like I'm a model, I'm not a singer. Versus when I'm an influencer, I'm always going to be first an artist who happens to, like strike a pose, like, here's this cute shirt I got on, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's cool because it's integrated, but I definitely would prefer the influencers out of modeling. But I mean, doing a runway show would be cool. I've never tried that, but I would like to try that one day.
Yeah. Yeah, I know modeling is time consuming, but there's also a lot of artists that just like slip it in there.
Yeah, I definitely see some girls out there that are doing the thing, and I'd be like, can't be me, but love that journey for you.
Yeah. And where are you originally from?
I'm originally from upstate New York, a little town in the Hudson Valley called Kingston, not Jamaica, Kingston, New York. And yeah, I grew up there, lived there, and then I migrated down to Jersey. That's where the company at Time Water Music, they were based in Jersey. So I was, just driving a lot back and forward, and then I ended up, making the move. But I am originally a New York gal.
And what was it like for you growing up in upstate New York?
Growing up in upstate was cool. Very suburbs, I mean, it's like a mix. I feel like Kingston's a cool place because it has like that city element, right? Like where you have like a little more like fast-paced, cool things going on. But then it's like you could drive for 10 minutes and be like in the middle of a farm with like some cows. You know what I mean? Like, or like apple picking. I don't know. So I think that's where I got like my outdoorsiness from, because I did grow up around like so much like nature and like greenery. But it was very quiet, very chill. I definitely feel like I needed to leave there because, the things that I wanted to pursue in my life were not happening in that town. But, I enjoyed my time, and I liked that I grew up there because I felt like I learned a lot just about like people and like family values that, I still have with me, but, had to check up the deuces for just a little bit.
And who would you say are some of your biggest influences? Just in general, it doesn't have to be like
not even musically.
Yeah, in general.
Just in life.
Yeah.
Wow, that's it. No one ever asked me that. They're always like, "Who are your musical influences?" Okay. Thinking on my feet. I'm a really really big Michael Jordan fan. Like obsessed with this man. I think because like I'd watched like the documentary on Netflix, and then right when I watched it, I was turning 23, so I just like embraced and soaked up all the 23 energy. But I like champions. I like winners. So I like Michael Jordan, Kobe. I'm just happen to be big fans of like athletes, or also Michael Jackson, right? That's a musical person, or even like Floyd Mayweather. I just like people who have a certain work ethic. And it doesn't have to be in music, but I think winners are winners. And when you have a certain type of mentality, no matter what you do, you're going to win. So I've always just been a fan of anybody who's like at the, even Kevin Hart, love that guy, because just seeing what, other people are able to do in their industry that's different than mine, I'm still able to like learn and be like, wow, like, you're putting in work day in and day out. And I like to just take, different habits and, things from those people that I kind of look up to and then put it into music.
How important would you say it's been for you to be driven? Just, with your career?
I think in anything, you have to like have your own energy and your own drive. Yeah. I think it's important that, you have people around you who believe in you, but you every single day, like I always tell people that like you're the only person who has to wake up and live your life, right? So only you are you every day that you wake up. And so you have to have like your own energy and your own motivation and your own reason to get up and do what you're doing, right? Like if you're doing something for somebody else, that's only going to last you but so long because there's something inside of you that's like really driving and pushing you. And so I feel like being in an industry that's ridiculously competitive, and then you have social media on top of that where everybody's extremely judgmental and skeptical and they're just like, looking for flaws, you have to have some type of drive and motivation to just plow through all of the nonsense, to be able to do the things that you like about it. So I think having drive is like top tier, very important, at least for me.
Yeah. And going back to the Vent EP, right? It's an EP. Did you expect to get the reaction from people that it did?
I'm extremely grateful that people had such or are still having a really good response. I didn't necessarily expect that. Like every time I put out music, it's always growing. It's always doing better than the last thing I did, which is really important to me because I always just want to be getting better than I was yesterday. So if I put out a single, I just want it to do better than the last single I did, right? Even if it's not doing better than Susie, who cares? It's doing better than, the last thing that I did. So I'm evolving. And so in that perspective, the EP is like, again, it's like to date, my biggest body of work and my most successful body of work. But I feel like people are resonated with it so much because the stories are literally stories from girls. So as they're listening to it, they know like this song is about me, literally, right? Like if they send me a message. So I feel like a lot of people are just able to resonate with that. And, I consider my musical style to be venting. Like it's not just like an EP name, because I feel like my music is a conversation between myself and the listener. So I also feel like that's helping, people. It's just like it's like a unique, it's a new thing. I don't think anybody else is really doing that. So it's like a fresh perspective, I feel like, and that's why I think it's doing so well.
Yeah. If you can say anything to anyone, I guess that's looking for inspiration, what would it be?
Anyone that's looking for inspiration. I definitely would just say always, that goes back to the whole thing of like having your own drive. You have to have your own reason why, and just have a plan. Know what you're doing, have a plan, and then do it. That seems kind of like simply put, but I think a lot of, things do not work out for people, or people, fail. I feel like failure is simply just because you didn't try enough times, right? If you continue to go, I think the, idea of always going or keep going, never giving up, you are inevitable to succeed at what you're doing if you just don't stop. The only way you're going to fail is if you give up. So I feel like as long as you have belief in you, it doesn't matter if anybody else on this planet, if they do not see your vision, if they don't believe in you, if you have that vision, you just have to keep going and know why you're doing it, and you're eventually going to get to where you want to go.
Okay. And do you have any other cool things coming up?
Mm-hmm. Cool things coming up. Well, I mean, my name, Law, right, stands for Ladies Always Win. So I just got a lot of winning coming up. That's what I'm doing. Videos, some cool shows, but, in general, from me, that's what you're going to be seeing. The wins, the W's, no L's.
Okay. I think we're good.